Welcome back to AM Northwest. If you've ever been called overly sensitive, our next guest has tips for you to handle all the negativity. We welcome the author of the Empath Survival Guide, Life Strategies for Sensitive People, Dr. Judith Orloff. Good to have you back again.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Awesome. Tell me what an empath is. I'm hearing that term more and more.
Yeah, well, I'm a psychiatrist and I'm also an empath. An empath is somebody who is very, very sensitive and is open and is really caring for people, but they tend to be an emotional sponge and take on the angst of the world into their own bodies, so they suffer from exhaustion, chronic fatigue, anxiety, fibromyalgia, so they're misdiagnosed.
Oh, wow. So how can you tell if you may be one of these people that's an empath?
Yeah, in the book there's a quiz, are you an empath? And some of the questions are, have you been labeled as, quote, overly sensitive? That's usually said derogatorily.
Right.
Yeah. Do you prefer to replenish your energy alone versus in crowds?
Oh.
Are you sensitive to noise, smells, or excessive talking? As empaths usually can't stand loud smells. And do you like to take your own car places so you can leave when you please?
Oh, that's me. That's totally me. I want to have control over my destiny.
Absolutely.
How do you use your ability, this sensitivity, to be positive, and how do you stay away from the negativity?
Yeah,
because you absorb it, as you said, right?
Well, I do, but the reason I wrote the book was to show people how not to absorb it and enjoy all the gifts of being sensitive. Okay. Being intuitive, being creative, being loving, being open, being caring, being able to contact nature and animals and deep, loving connections with the world. And so you need to learn how not to absorb the negativity of people around you. That's really, really critical. And one way is to simply breathe it out. Another way that I talk about in the book is a 3-minute meditation where you sit, quiet yourself. If you're flustered, if you're busy, quiet yourself, tune into your heart, breathe, center, and come back to what is most loving in you. And that will retune you. Do
empaths take on the worries of others? I'm going to bring up something that I do. So somebody has a problem and I can wake up in the morning thinking about, oh, that person, how are we going to solve their problem? It's not my problem.
Exactly.
It's their problem.
Exactly.
Do empaths do that too?
Exactly. That's what empaths do, where that you worry more about the other person than you do for yourself.
Right.
And so empaths need to learn how to set clear limits and boundaries with other people, because as a psychiatrist, I know that to help people, I can be there for somebody and be loving and be a guidance figure, but not take on the angst of my patients. So empaths are like sponges. They don't have the normal filters or boundaries, so they take on your stuff. And that's not healthy. That's the not healthy part.
So how do you not take on your patients' problems?
Well, usually I do meditations between each patient and I clear the energy and I'm able to center myself so that I'm fully present with the next patient. I don't come in rushing or busy or tired or overwrought, because that usually makes me absorb. And I also know that to be effective, I don't have to absorb. It's not necessary to absorb my patient's stuff in order for me to be effective.
Can you, an empath, you can't tell what someone's thinking, but are you more sensitive to how people are feeling?
Oh, absolutely. When I was a little girl and an empath, I couldn't go into crowded places and shopping malls because I'd walk in feeling fine and walk out exhausted or with some ache or pain I didn't have before. And I just didn't realize that all those people crowded together have energy and emotions. And I was picking that up as a little girl. And I was told you have to get a thicker skin, which is not what you tell sensitive children. And there's a chapter on how to raise sensitive children and how to be an empath parent.
Wow. So what are some tips on how to do that?
Well, with children, they have special needs. They don't need play dates back to back. They need to have imagination time and more alone time.
More alone time.
And, yeah, more time in nature. And if you have a party and they're hiding underneath the stair and kind of watching everyone, you let them do that because they're absorbing. You don't force a sensitive child to come in and do it your way. Right. You kind of go with them and honor their needs.
How does an empath visit places like New York or big cities, you know, because there are crowds everywhere. You can't get away from crowds, right?
Right. You eat a lot of protein because protein is...
really?
Yes. Protein is grounding for empaths. You don't want to go out in those crowds without having eaten a good meal or having meditated or eaten protein. Protein grounds you. It makes you feel more solid, so your blood sugar is stable. So that really helps enormously.
Is there usually an empath amongst a group of friends? I mean, do you find that?
Empaths are coming out everywhere. On my book tour, there are all these people who are empaths saying, oh my God, now I know what I am, because they're often misdiagnosed as agoraphobia, anxiety disorder, depression. And now with this book, they're saying, I know what I am, and now I could do something about it, which makes me so thrilled.
So when you know that you're an empath, you can maybe throw away the pills, that kind of thing, right?
Well, yes, that's a good point, because the first line of treatment for empaths is not medication, and empaths tend to get overly medicated because they're misdiagnosed.
Could they be misdiagnosed with anxiety, that kind of thing?
They're misdiagnosed because they're not diagnosed as empaths, and learning strategies to set clear boundaries, protect their energy from the outside world, not watch the 11 o'clock news before they go to sleep and absorbing all that stress.
Right, absolutely right. You want to tell folks that you have a book signing. It's at New Renaissance Books at 7:30 tomorrow on Northwest 23rd. We'll put the information on our website at KATV.com. The book again is titled The Empath Survival Guide. Judith Orloff, thank you very much.
You're very